Oh, these are some serious times. Man to man can be so unkind. I saw them wicked system design to brutalize your soul, control your mind. Still I never let them under my skin, they can never get me down. I'm understanding on some solid ground. One thing I found, she as the world go around. When the prayer goes up and then the blessing come down. So my faith, nothing's gonna break it. Come what may, I know I can take it. My faith, nothing's gonna shake it. Say whatever my way, I know I can take it. The earth is a church, no stepping at the chapel. Know what life is worth. Man live in tabernacle, prepare for the worst. I'm ready for the battle. We still have to see the first. My enemy get trapped. You gotta be a scientist or a microphysicist. An astrologist, I sacrifice first upon no scientific altar. My faith, nothing's gonna break it. Come what may, I know I can take it. Yeah. My faith, nothing's gonna shake it. So say whatever my way, I know I can take it. I'm a teacher, never feel like, and this love always gets me through. So dirty Babylon, you never break I. No matter what you say or do. And so me sing, my faith, nothing's gonna break it. Come what may, I know I can take it. My faith, nothing's gonna shake it. Say whatever my way, I know I can take it. I know I can, I know I can. My faith, nothing's gonna break it. Come what may, I know I can take it. Hey, my faith, nothing's gonna shake it. Say whatever my way, I know I can take it. I know I can, I know I can.
All my life
is to give Rastafari praise. Rastafari praise. To down that burden, is that pain. I chatting Rastafari way. Mighty Jah, King, who make all good things possible. To be alone, I call when my heart is in trouble. Keeper of my soul, Jah is in control. All the weary souls, Rasta door is wide open. The love of Jah so great, shut up and keep the faith. No time to contemplate or linger no more. Exalt Jah name, my life, all my days. The joy of my heart is to give Rastafari praise. Rastafari praise. Down that burden, is that pain. I chatting Rastafari way. Babylon world is a heavy, heavy load, and it's a very, very, very long journey. You're gonna need Jah down the road. You're gonna need Jah when the fire start burning. I say, one perfect love is the key to Jah door. So come now, one and all, give up your eyes is more and more. Give thanks for the sun come shining. Give thanks for the moon at night. Give thanks for the rain that falling. And the cool wind blowing by. Exalt Jah name. Worry. The joy of my heart is to give Rastafari praise. Lift your praise down that burden, ease that pain. Chatting Rastafari way. All my life, all my days. The joy of my heart is to give Rastafari praise. Is that pain? Chatting Rastafari way. All my life, in all my days, the joy of my heart is to give Rastafari praise.
From your step up in a life and you're doing this. From you have ambition, let me see your horn. Yeah, man. From your move from the viper, let me see your lighter. Ay, ay, ay. Yaga, yaga, yo. Ay, ay, ay. Yaga, yaga, yo. All the people who are live progressive and I try and improve them situation. Yeah, man. This I want your name, step up. All who are step up in a life, come step up. Moving to a higher kind of height, boy, step up. Stop wasting your time and step up. Up the ladder you be climb, come step up. All do a step up in a life, come step up. Moving to a higher kind of height, so step up. And stop wasting your time and step up. Up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb 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 up. Always try to better yourself and try to progress. Work and perseverance is the way to success. Always try your best, nothing any less. Stepping up the ladder with the righteousness. Look how you can live, look how your life is in a mess. Some of the things you're doing, man, are foolishness. We are kings and queens, prince and the princess. Now is not the time for you to justice. I want your name, step up. All who are step up in a life, come step up. Moving to a higher kind of height, boy, step up. And stop wasting your time and step up. Up the ladder you can climb, come step up. All who are step up in a life, just step up. Moving to a higher kind of
Testing 1 2. Testing 2. Testing 2.
Everybody climb up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb up. Cause you got the capability and the ability and the facility to be what you wanna be. If you could only see the possibility and use your energy for stepping up your liberty, the power of the Trinity, and that is in a way. It's a divinity from now to infinity. Christ's personality, the iris of His Majesty. Celeste is the authority to step up your mentality. Step up, all who are step up in a life, come step up. Moving up and trying to survive, boy, step up. Stop wasting your time and step up. Up the ladder you be climb, come step up. All who are step up in a life, just step up. Moving to a higher kind of height, boy, step up. And stop wasting your time and step up. Up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb 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 up when me say step up. And not just money me a talk. I don't know big fancy car. You could have step up and a walk. Step up in your thinking. Step up in your thought. Step up in your mind. Me say step up in your heart. Just step up. All who want step up in a life, come step up. Moving up and trying to survive, boy, step up. And stop wasting your time and step up. Up the ladder you be climb, come step up. All who want step up in a life, just step up. Moving to a higher kind of height, boy, step up. And stop wasting your time and step up. Up, climb up, climb up. Everybody climb 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 up. Always try to better yourself and try to progress. Work and perseverance is the way to success. Always try your best, nothing any less. Stepping up the ladder with the righteousness. It's in a mess. Some of the things you're doing, man, I know my destiny.
I know where I am supposed to go. Anyhow, I am lost on the journey. So lastly, I will follow for His goal. Greetings, joy, and goodbye, sorrow. I know my destiny. Do you know your destiny? We should know our destiny. And sing a prayer, say enemy for a better community. Oh, I know my destiny. Do you know your destiny? We should know our destiny. And sing a prayer, pray for me. Cause that's the way it's supposed to be. I have a purpose that I must fulfill. I am going the distance, each and every mile. I've got to do it still, and yet I still keep spreading the music. I'm gonna tell you secure. Me ready and steady, take a shot to the hills. Your vibes soon and never make you ill. Oh, I know my destiny. Do you know your destiny? Say your prayers to you and me. Cause that's the way it's supposed to be. I know my destiny. Do you know your destiny? We should know. Oh, not live in a fantasy. Only deal with reality. I'm free trouble Babylon. I am queen of Omega, mother of creation. I never asked to be here. It's my destination. Through what's power and song to lead the people in the right direction. I know my destiny. Do you know your destiny? We should know. Cause that's the way it's supposed to be. Living in a unity. We should know. We should know. Oh. I feel it, a people. I feel trample the evil. On the higher level. Now bow to the devil. I'm over it and not culpable. So when you see me, just a season settle for me. Up to down the water where I'm boiling on the kettle. Me just a massive test, don't be collect. Me metal like a barber tonight. Me well ordered and comfortable. And the fuck is the level. Me able to do it in a face on a level. What's my long time? What we think
such a joy for a day. It comes from my heart, ain't no lie. Just a little love with you, such a joy to I and I. Comes from my heart, ain't no lie. They say my heart shares far too many. Hey, what do you say? They say my thoughts worth no more than a penny. Hey.
Testing. Greetings. Hope everyone is doing wonderful on this beautiful Sunday, this beautiful spring weather, May 18th. Right? As we stand here in the threshold of the sacred space, in the presence of the divine, I would like to just say hello to everyone. And I wish you all having a wonderful day as we are coming together in community. For those seen and unseen, those online, those who are here, those who are present, I hope we're having a fantastic day. And I just wanted to go and start with some positive energy. We're going to shake off this week and move forward in a great way. So with no further ado, I think it's the right time to give praise and greetings and thank yous to our ancestors. I want to bring up Baba Ausar. No, yes. Baba Rose. I apologize. Look, I'm not trying to misplace or replace anyone. We all have our place. That's it.
Barikar, everybody. Ujambos, Siyambos. First of all, libation is a ritual. And the purpose of ritual is to create harmony between the human world and the world of the Creator, ancestors, and nature. As our ancestor Maya Angelou has said often, the greatest gifts are the blessings of the past. So let us thank those who came before us. And when you hear me say Ashe, which is a Yoruba word meaning it is done, or so be it, you say Ashe. We pour now to the ancient Egyptians, or more correctly, the Kemethi EU, who were culturally, linguistically, and phenotypically African, and were proud of their African origin and stated so in their writings. From the highly respected papyrus of Hunefer, found in the Egyptian book of the Coming Forth by Day, it states, "Our home is at the source of the Nile River, where the god Hapi dwells, at the foothills of the mountain of the moon. Our land is the Holy Land, Tanuta, or God's land. This area between Kenya and Tanzania is also known for the world's oldest fossil finds of early man and the birthplace of Homo sapiens sapiens. So we ask these ancestors to be with us, to bless us, and to renew us for struggles ahead. I say. We now pour to my mentor, the illustrious, inimitable Professor Dr. John Henry Clark, who said often in class, Africa has always and still is the prize for the whole world. We as a people have always been the world's richest people, culturally rich, mineral rich. We have always been the prize because we've always had and still have something that other people want, think they can't do without, and do not want to pay for. We asked, you hear what's going on in Burkina Faso, right? Brother Ibrahim Traore. We asked this ancestor to be with us, to bless us, and renew us for struggle ahead. I say. We now pour to the great author, prisoner, and revolutionary George Jackson, known for his radical prison activism and his notable books like Soledad Brother, The Prison Letters of George Jackson, and for me, my most favorite, Blood in My Eye. Brother George once chimed, if you're not part of the 1%, you're a nobody to be exploited. Revolutionary change means the seizure of all that is held by the 1% and the transference of these holdings into the hands of the remaining 99%. If the 1% are simply replaced by another 1%, revolutionary change has not taken place. Democrats and Republicans, two sides of the same coin. When any election is held, it will fortify rather than destroy the credibility of the power brokers. When we participate in this election to win instead of disrupt, we're lending to its credibility. So we ask this bright light, George Jackson, to be with us, to bless us, to renew us for our struggles ahead. I say.
Appreciate you, Baba Rose. All right. At this time, I want to take a moment and ask anyone who feels the spirit moving them to share their gifts with the tribe, with the group, with the community.
How everybody doing? How everybody feeling? All right, we gonna do some body sounds, just enough to release, like my man was talking about, shaking it off. So we gonna do the same thing, with shaking off some good vibes, some negative vibes, receiving some good vibes. Okay. So the first sound is gonna be what we all say naturally. The body naturally said. It says, ah. Yeah, just like that. Take a deep breath now. Say, ah. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Ah. The longer you make it come out, the more coming out. Ready? Last time. Deep breath in. So I'm gonna have one more sound I'm gonna share with you. It's called the bumblebee sound. Okay, the bumblebee sound, it increases blood flow. It also give you nitro oxide, increases nitro oxide in your body. Okay, so the bumblebee sound is just like it sounds like a bumblebee, right? So we go, that's right. You want to sound like a beehive. Ready? Let's do it again. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. Relax. Now we're going to do the longest one we can do to let everything out, okay? One last one. Deep breath in. Beautiful. Have a blessed day. Ashe.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Yaya. For those who haven't seen me here before, it's good to be back. I haven't been able to be here for a couple of weekends. And what I would like to share is the beginnings of something that I've begun to write based on a quote that was attributed to Harriet Tubman. And it goes like this. I could have saved 1,000 more if they only knew. I could have saved 1,000 more if they only knew. If they wake up and realize that slavery has never died, I could have saved 1,000 more if they only knew.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'd actually like to share, if you don't mind, sit right here. Is there a mic stand? I have a fondness for redemption songs, so. You know, I didn't know that, and I appreciate you sharing. You gotta say that for the people. You gotta let them know.
Marcus Garvey said emancipate yourself.
Emancipate yourself from slavery, none but ourselves can free our mind.
That was originally by Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
You know, Marcus Garvey always said, don't worry about the kinks in your hair. Worry about the kinks in your brain.
I love it.
Okay. All right.
Piece, please?
Thank you. Blessings, blessings. Thank you, Brother Fur.
It is letting America pay for her sins and transgressions. We will not save you this time. Tell me what you know about being disqualified for being overqualified. Knowing too much and might do the job too well. Code switching my tongue to standard English just to be micromanaged by someone who calls himself an ally. Feed me propaganda. Greet me with African-American vernacular they learned on TikTok. They say it's the new Gen Z lingo. They have no idea the origin of this breakdance language. We are living in a new era. The descendants of sharecroppers are now the new corporate baddies. Systemic racism, cowards, and envy hate to see all this prosperity on us, so they took back their affirmative action in the name of equality. Fine. Keep your DEI initiatives and programs. Haven't we been here before? I'm not shocked by your inherited ignorance, the colonization in your blood. I come from a lineage of women who marched with swollen feet and pregnant bellies, hunted by the smell of burning flesh and Jim Crow South. We are not new to this unsolicited grief against our bodies. When this truth fully dissolves in my skin, I am a protest waiting to happen at sunset. I know too much about riding at dawn for what you believe in. When copper skin is exalted until it becomes a threat, the vultures will come and try to confiscate our skin, our culture, our charm. Billy, they will give us a national holiday, but there is still strange fruit swinging. Every day we are fighting erasure with permanent ink, writing our stories in the skylines to never be forgotten. My people are here. We have always been here. For most Black women, we are somebody's lifeline. Tour guide to enlightenment, we are somebody's mother, mending deprived hearts, holding on to things that don't belong to us, standing on front lines for people who would never march for us, but despite what they say, what we conjure in our bellies is miraculous. Being a Black woman is holy. It is the remedy in our touch, the comfort in our laughter. It is finding sunlight in your teeth during the darkest hour in the day. It is the hunger of wanting to live in a world that doesn't love you back. It is trading your armor for roses and resting in all the glory she is made of.
That was an extremely powerful piece. Next, I'm going to hand the mic to Brother Abu Jamal. Thank you.
You got a designated mic, huh?
No, you put it there. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We got to go by the podium or...
I can put it here.
Yeah, I put it there. I get it. Testing 1 2 testing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abu Jamal. A brother member of TNAT. And what I have today, I want to present something for those that's here and those that are watching. Some thoughts for consideration relative to TNAT. So I entitled this Ways to Support TNAT and Promote TNAT through Reflection and Introspection. Social media. We all are on social media platforms, one or another. We all know of others who may be interested in our holistic approach or other aspects of TNAT. If you believe and or know
that our Bible and minister is truthful, trustworthy, and dedicated, etc. And if you do indeed, then I recommend that first, all befriend our Facebook page and our social media platforms. Second, not only affix an emoji to what Bob Ausar puts out or what TNAT puts out, but put a comment, not just a shade, or good, or deep, but explain yourself so that others can see the benefit of what's happening here at TNAT. Amongst us is good, but we want others to be privy to this, to see from their perspective, knowing you, how TNAT fits into your life and what things we're doing here. Thanks to Brother Ausar. Third, again, TNAT and the words, knowledge, and the wisdom of our minister are truly beneficial to you, and you recognize the worth and the value thereof. Then every once in a while, we post what TNAT puts on there, what Brother Ausar puts on social media. You have friends, we have friends that's not connected to TNAT. We have friends that none of us know. So we all have an outreach. We all have a circle of individuals that we connect to and with relative to TNAT. If this is where, like Odell say, you know if you belong. We must talk about TNAT and share. I like drama movies. This sister know I like drama movies. Hey, brother Abu, nice drama movie. Go check it out. I know you like drama. Once again, if TNAT is the place, we must promote it. And it takes nothing to say what's going on in TNAT, because you all know that's here and that's online. You know what goes on here. Where is your vested interest? Where is your vested interest? Where is your vested interest? And where is your vested interest? You got a question? Introspection. What are you expecting from TNAT? And in a very real sense, what are you willing to do for TNAT? And how far are you willing to go in your internal stated purpose for TNAT and being here? Lip service is over. I just have a few points for further consideration, especially for those individuals that are here. What did or have you retained from the last message that was given here by Barbara 2 weeks ago? Now, I'm talking about the feel good. Not talking about the emotional high. Not talking about the music and the poetry. But what of substance did you gain the last time you was here at TNAT? That's very important. You gained a lot. We must change the narrative. We've been hearing that for years, but we cannot change the narrative using the same old narrative that's prevalent amongst us. We must change it. We must create another narrative. We must begin to think different, be different, walk different, and feel different. But this is not an outer difference. This is an inner difference. Going on with the narrative is TNAT and what's going on here is really a condition of the heart and a heart condition. It really is. We are all kings and queens in here. We were created as such. TNAT is geared for us all to evolve to our given stated purpose as the Creator intended. And here's another thing, and I'm finished, and I appreciate your time and your patience. One of the ways to foster brotherhood and sisterhood, even amongst the individuals here or wherever, contact your brother or sister every 3 days. Text, email, telephone call. He or she might be busy, but if I contact you and you say you talk to brother whoever, okay, that's good. 2 or 3 days. How are you going to build a relationship once a week, 2 hours a week? It's not going to happen. If you say you're going to call something, you say you're going to do something, do it. We expect that here. But you also expect it from yourself. If I was saying, Abu Jamal, I'm going to do something, you would expect me to do that. So there's no difference. We must put our endeavor to a human dynamic. Human. You go through the process at your job, you don't care. Even if you fuss and complain, you go through the process, you're on time, you take your breaks on time. But as the Bible mentioned a few weeks ago, respect, communications, which is lacking amongst us. And this is not a quote-unquote Afrocentric perspective. This is a human perspective. Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. So these 2 young ladies with me, my daughters, want to share something.
Affirmations. I want to say my affirmations. I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm intelligent, I'm a warrior princess, and I can do anything I put my mind to, and everything I have.
That's it.
I'm beautiful, intelligent, and a warrior.
That's it.
All right. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Winkler.
When you claim your happiness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud.
No,
claim your African. Black and I'm
With
proud.
no further ado, Dr. Winkler.
Ashe. I see y'all like that Baltimore. I see the DC over there portraying the go-go for just a second. You know, we yes. You know, we got Dr. Amos on the vocals, right? Who knew that was Dr. Amos? Oh, y'all acting like y'all knew that was Dr. Amos. He say, reclaim your Africanness, and you might get your mind right. You know, so that's a little echo in my thing today. Y'all saw I've been doing all types of squats and things of that nature. You sound like I'm in the halls, huh? The halls of Ma'at. The halls of Ma'at. Well, it's a little echo, but you know, maybe it sounds like you know, it's in the halls, the temples. You know, and that's cool. You know, they do that effect at the churches. The temples. You know. So let me do this.
I give all honor to the Mother, Father, Universal Mother, Father, the creative force of the universe. I ask my elders for permission to speak. Elders, may I? And greetings. It's a pleasure being here. Pleasure being here with so many beautiful faces. Brother Abu Jamal, you did well up there, sir. I appreciate it. I ain't gotta be the only one that's coming with the thunder, huh? I ain't the only angry one, numbers. You know what I mean? But no, that's called. I appreciate it really though. That was very meaningful. Yeah, I think that what you're saying is it's important that we do what is human, and I would say what is human is what is African. So I don't even see it as a this or that. I see it that when something is human, it is African. There's no separation. So is it African-centered? Ashe. You know what I mean? So I would say to be human is synonymous with what is African. So I got an opening reflection today. What we're going to really speak to is this idea. It's the principle that I've been working on, and I've heard it, but I can't. But I kind of wanted to put it in a part of the principles of my theory called Njia theory and counseling model or wellness model in the book that I'm actually compiling as well, which is Njia, the journey of both and the sacred reclamation of psychology, psychotherapy, and I think it's well-being. And then I added something like and building, but I'm just working on it. But nonetheless, the title is Njia, the journey of both and to me that is a very African-centered perspective, because both and is very important, and both and will be like it's not exclusionary. So I don't think there's anything that is not African, because African, from an African-centered perspective, is a both and. It's just not in isolation, because even what we call Eurocentric, I don't see that. I think I talk about it in my notes a little bit here, but I think sometimes we become reactionary, and we call something Eurocentric because the European said it. But I often say the European wasn't the first person that ever came up with that idea, thought in the first place. So to me, what is African is not, and I take up all debates with this. What is African is all. It is whole. It is not a this or that thing. There is nothing that is not African. I argue that. Now, the way you utilize it might not be in accord with what is African, but the African is of the all. It's everything. It's good, is in a relative way, what people call good and bad. Then when we realize that is even relative, right? And Africans say what we call bad or good is just relative, because there's a both and. As somebody was trying to trip us up last week, Baba was swift on his feet. He said that can be good too. I forgot what it was. Somebody said I might have to take him out. And he said that's bad, right? Baba said no, that can be good at times too. So I'm gonna make sure we have these mics. I'm making sure y'all talking in front of the mics and I'm not talking in front of the mic. But anyway, I'm gonna open up like this. As we open the circle today, I want to center us in this ninth principle: spiritual discernment, or just discernment, however you want to call it. The ability to distinguish between what is real and unreal. This isn't just about exposing falsehood out there. This is about our ability to sit with what feels good, what sounds African, what looks polished, and ask, is it rooted? Is it real, or is it romanticized? Let's say that again. This is about our ability to sit with what feels good, what sounds African, what looks polished, and ask, is it rooted? Is it real? or is it romanticized? Earlier this week, someone shared a video in the thread. I'm just gonna let y'all know from now on. If there's everything that at TNET is for me. If you don't know it, I'm just gonna give y'all the disclosure that everything here at TNET, all the threads, all the things is about education. So if there is something in there, I might bring it up. So be careful what you post if you don't want me to bring it up. Because because I see things as a learning. It's about learning. So I just don't want misinformation or misapplied information. And what makes you special be the one to say it's misapplied? Y'all, okay? and I will say I have that ability to feed. Because I'm just gonna be honest. Like, how many people I've been in various conversations with so many people. And they will argue me down. They will argue me down that what I'm saying is not correct because it doesn't fit with their way of seeing things. Until they really dig in and get out the emotional irrationality about it. What am I saying? That I'm going to say that is one of my gifts. To see what is real versus what is unreal. Earlier, so again, I'm going to repeat this. Earlier this week, someone shared a video. The speaker was eloquent, poised, and everything about it felt good. She spoke about how African people relate to time. How African people relate to time. Not by clock, but by presence and rhythm. That sounds beautiful. I say that. That sounds very beautiful. And some of it may be true. But here's the question. How do we know when something is just beautiful language and when it is a reflection of how people actually lived? Let me offer a real moment. Someone I work with once arrived over 2 hours late. I won't name anybody, but the person came, we had a meeting. And this is not the only time it happened, but this is one of the times. It's just a nice time to talk about it. So it literally maybe 2 or more hours late, the person arrived to my office after we had planned to meet a certain time. And at some point, I waited. And then she said, so I waited and she said, well, Africans didn't really use time like that, right? So this is 2 hours late. 2 hours late or more. And I had to pause because while there's something poetic in that, I asked her, then who created the sun disk? Who tracked the stars? Who aligned the temples with the solstice? So if Africans didn't utilize a clock, they used something else. Look, we get caught up with things that don't really make sense. Like, what am I saying here? I'm just gonna put these notes down for a second because it's confabulating my words here. Yeah, y'all look it up. It's probably a word. Confabulate, I said. Yes, it sounds better. Yes, confabulating my words. So, Dr. Ray used to say, I think it's a little, it could be coming across a little arrogant, but it's a joke in this case. He said, I had a PhD, I can define a word. so that's what he used to say. Yeah, I got a PhD, I can define the word. Y'all heard him say that before? You heard him say that, right? He said, because y'all listened to the white man and what gave them the authority to define the word, but nonetheless, what I'm saying is, so this 2 hour window, the person says, we don't really use time like that. Time is not, no, it's not even that we didn't use clocks. Time is not real. So I'm saying, time is not real, but we created the sun disk. Time is not real, but we built the pyramids. Time is not real. So my problem with this is that even if we go to the clock analogy, the whole idea, or the clock reality that Africans didn't use clocks and people just showed up when they were, and things were in rhythm. But the problem is, are things in rhythm the way that you're operating? That's the thing. There has to be some collective consensus about things. You can't just use it because you like to be late everywhere. Because you're literally late. In Africa or in African community, maybe they weren't late because they knew there was an ethos and a collective, agreement. I was looking for a C word. Consensus. Yeah. Look, what was the other word? This collaboration. No. The one I made up. The conflabber. Look, write it down. You know, yeah, all those type of things. But what was I just saying? It's this. Yeah, is it a group thing? We utilize this thing in a very me sense. Oh, African colored people time. You know, the ancestors used to time being late is not being late. Well, the problem is the party's over. In Africa, if the people arrived and the party was still going on, then I get what you're saying. So you were late. Because the ethos wasn't matching. So you can't just utilize that at your will just to excuse your tardiness. Bobby, grab the mic though. I see your mic is parched. Your mouth is parched.
She was the. You hear me? No.
Yeah, the other mic is a little better. Test it.
She would. See her? No.
Who said it was a she? I said it was a she. I gave at least the gender away, huh?
Hello.
Go. No, just take the mic. Just take Testing.
All right. No, she wasn't late. Late is like 5-10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Nah, for real, right? You know, I'm sorry. I was like a minute or two late, 5 minutes. But 2 hours, that's beyond lateness. You know, or even an excuse. Now that she, you know, there can be excuse there, but no, that's beyond late.
Right.
And she shouldn't even have an excuse for that. It's not an excuse for, well, there is an excuse for that, but I don't think she had one. That's what I'm saying.
But then, thank you. So the videos we put out sometimes, we put out things to support our stuff. And when we talk about, no, not in this case, this lady, if you really look at the video, it was very on time, and I agree with it. This video suggested that there was somewhat of an agreement there. You can't utilize that unless there's an agreement. Like, I understand there is agreement here that we say we're going to start at 1. And whatever time we tell black people in America, it's probably going to be a half an hour later. So I think we can kind of somewhat agree on that. But y'all like, nah, we ain't doing it. I got a little bit more. No, we got to be on time. But the other part is this. No, sometimes you just got to be on time. Because I guarantee you that when they were building the pyramids, everybody wasn't showing up when they wanted to. I guarantee you when they was building the Ghana, Mali, Songhai, they weren't just coming when they wanted to. I guarantee you when they were doing all the teaching and schooling, the students just didn't show up when they wanted to. But sometimes we take certain aspects, which is true, and we take it out of context. Lots of times when I write this thing about time, lots of times it has to do with celebratory events. And the party don't start until I get there, you know, that type of thing. But we act like people live like this holistically, just to support our tardiness. And I guarantee you, if we want to go there, someone couldn't tell Shaka Zulu or Queen Nzinga, and what's the other Queen Mama in West Africa? Okay, Asante Way. I heard people say Asante Way, but I'll go with that one. It's easier. Yeah, y'all a little bit more seasoned with your tongue. Yes, confibulated. I guarantee you, when they were at war, that they had to have timing was very important. So I think it's important that we not get just misutilize things. As Dr. Higgins used to say, and he probably still says, from a biblical standpoint, he calls it segmented biblical attention. And I guess I would call it Afrocentric segmented attention, where we take certain pieces out of whatever the whole body of work, idea, understanding, just to support what we don't want to change. So segmented biblical attention would be that when you pull one verse out and don't talk about the rest of the chapter, or you pull one verse out but don't talk about the other books, you talk about it in a segmented way versus a unified way, how everything coalesces.
I was listening to what you were saying, and I think it was a lack of communication, because I think that she should have shared that with you, because in different cultures, they have different times, and before we had time, man created time, but the universe is time left. But at the same time, when we're in different environments, we should communicate and let people know about our experience. Like, she was in Africa, they didn't have time, so when she came over here, she was 2 hours late. And you became very quick because she didn't explain it or share that experience that they do in Africa. So I think it was a lack of communication.
Yeah, and this wasn't a person from the continent, though. Thank you for that. This is us, and it's okay, but at some point, we just gotta be real. Hold up, brother. Okay, have you got a mic? Make sure you got a mic. I know you. I know.
Oh yeah. When people start running off like that, what they do, they make an excuse for a lack of accountability. And what they do is they perpetuate and promote that, and people gravitate to that because, as you said, it sounds good. Remember what this brother embodies. He correct that which is wrong. This is what he's doing. He's corrected that which is wrong, and it's misleading the people. I can give you the in Common Humanity 1500 about calendars. I can give you that, but we'll let it be. Trust me.
No, so this happens all the time. What I'm saying is, so the main message is this: being able to distinguish that which is real from what is unreal. And in this video, I realized that many times we will say, well, they did it this way, they did it that way. And we're talking about a continent of so many nations and cultures. I know people debate whether it's one culture in Africa, there's various cultures in Africa. I'm sorry. They coalesce. They might have similences of each other, but they're various cultures. They might be all humane cultures. Maybe not. I don't know. But what I am saying, that I understand that they are, at the core, they're humanistic in a sense. But culture varies depending on what a group of people need. There's a different culture between Baltimore and city and Baltimore County. There's a different culture within the different households of this city here. There's different cultures. People have different cultures because cultures help people organize themselves in a way to maintain, to thrive, survive, and all other types of things. Go about.
I don't want to distract away from the bigger point, which I'm understanding is how misinformation or the video can include confirmation bias. Just like finding things that make you feel all warm and fuzzy, but you're choosing a line out of a book opposed to reading the whole book. Is it on? I'm not sure.
Is the light on? I think it was all right.
I was going to also say that there's, specifically in that example, there's something else that's unsaid, because time is money, or it's a type of currency. So, like, there's opportunity cost. In your profession, like, you people have to show up on time and end on time, because that then infringes on the next person or the next thing. And like that messes up the bag in a sense, because people expect that their time is valued. So, there's like this other part of opportunity cost that if you just show up whenever you want, then you're not taking into account of all the people who are involved in the schedule in general. But that's like another part that is kind of a segue from where the initial conversation was. But I did want to mention that, as it pertains to time, people don't take into consideration opportunity costs. What do you have to do during that time that you're not doing in order to fulfill the obligation that you already made somebody else?
I think that's important, right? And I think, one, I can see there's two ways to kind of deal with that. One way is, it's true that we need to value people greater than time, right? Like trading hours for dollars can become problematic. So I can see that response there. Like someone might say, well, we don't really look at things in that way. Like, because people like trading hours for dollars is inhumane. I think that I can agree with that to a degree, but not holistically. What I mean is, I agree that we have to do that, exactly what you said, and it's important about us being productive, collectively productive. And if we're not collectively productive, we're going to have problems. But we also have to look at people larger than them trading hours for dollars. So it's like two things has to happen at one time. We have to be respectful of each other's time. And then two, we also have to be able to understand that people are human. You understand? It's not to what I'm calling overcorrection. See, what we do in a lot of African-centered spaces and Black spaces is we overcorrect. And what I mean by overcorrection, I always use this word, is because we go to the total opposite. Well, time is not real. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's a construct, like everything else, like your name. Your name ain't real. If you want to go there, right? Like, so what it helps us organize things. You understand? So we can go and start talking about what's all social constructs all day. But the reality is, do you want to stop there, or do you want to just start there? Because we can tell you, I can tell you your mama not real. Because mama is a made up word. And we created the word. And you just look, we can't create constructs to help us organize things hierarchically, or just to help us work together. So I think it's a both and I think that we always, Brother Abu Jamal come over here. He distracts me with all the whispering. He got the mic looking at me intensely. So now I'm trying to figure out, I thought he was done on the mic today. I had to cool that one off. But go ahead, Bob.
No, it's basically what you are expressing and explaining what Brother Bob and I were talking about earlier before the program started, which once again, you hit on a couple weeks ago, it's respect and accountability. It's okay for that person to arrive 2 hours late. But if you arrive 2 hours late, then it's an issue.
It becomes an issue.
Mm-hmm. So once again, it's relative and it's subjective. And I can see the problem, but once again, people are selfish, and they don't look at the other side of it. I mean, it benefits me, but I don't give a Sam Houston about you.
I think Mama has something to say.
And the question is, would she have come into someone else's office who's non-melanated saying that?
We have to I can see the response to that. They're not melanated, so that time they work on European time. I can give you a response to that. But the reality is, it's not about the person. It's about we all do these things, especially when we get certain levels of information. The goal of this discussion is to be able to discern between what's real and what is unreal. So it's not about that particular example. That's just a great example because that person may have believed that. But the reality is we have to go deeper than that because I believe people believe when they say things like that sometimes. You know, so it's not that they didn't find it somewhere or they didn't pick it up on the YouTube channel or somebody didn't tell it to them, some spiritual guru or somebody told them. So now they pick it up and we try to live by it. But the problem is you only live by it when you want it to work in your favor, I think. So we, like, for example, brother, so like when people come in here, I realize something. Everybody's African outside of here, but when they come in here, they want to be real African. But not African on their end. They want to treat me as African. You know, we all a collective, right? Yeah, we are. So do your part. The problem is they want to hold me accountable as African. I think it's hard not to. I'm saying, look, I strive to be African. But the problem is they don't want it to be reciprocated. So as long as, you know, it's easier to deal with the person on the mic, but what about you? What about you? And then again, if we're operating with this thing, we have to take it far further because the video was beautiful. She started saying that, look, things didn't start on time, but they also didn't have, they started on time, but no one rushed when elders were talking. Like you had to sit there and the elder was talking or the leader would be talking. See, what I realize is we like to start on what we call CPT, was it CPT time? CP, something like that. But we like to end early too. So you can't have it always. You said that's both and, ain't it, right, brother? You know, we real slick with this stuff. We want to end before we start. All right, it's time. We talked enough. Even in that, if we're gonna hold this, the elders, we need patience too. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, some of the elders, look, you start talking to them, they want to cut you off like, look, you just get over it. Bye. Or they'll say some spiritual bypassing thing, just go into the past and forgive all the sins and do all these things and clear all the souls. Okay, but I want to talk about this. So then, on the other hand, the elders not listening, the youngsters not listening to elders. No, we're in a society that we're operating on this clock. It only benefits us again when we don't want it to work, because if you wouldn't be rushing the youngster or the elder if we were operating in this particular vein. Mic. You don't have a mic on that side?
Good afternoon. My name is Dean. I'm new to the program.
Greetings.
Which circumstances prevent you wanting to be on time on any time? To try to make an event, to learn the knowledge and understanding that's being shared with you. How do you go about accepting that concept that you're telling? I've been here before. I believe the young man was involved. I live right around the corner. I came in when the program was first started. This is my first time sitting in on an event like this. So what I'm trying to get across is the concept of learning African time and being on time in general. What if the circumstances that might coincide with that?
Well, I think that the sister said it very powerfully. She said communication is important. So communication, you will be like, so if we commit to a certain time, right? And we say we're going to be there at 5 o'clock. As Baba said, 5:05, even 5:07 is okay. Just a little bit. But when we talking about 6:30 and 8 o'clock and no one's called a person, that becomes a problem. I've even like, I'm a serious person. So if we say we're going to meet, I'm going to be here. So I've been like, the other thing is, I'll come in, I'll meet you, and then you'll call and say, oh, I didn't know we was really meeting. Like, we got to be serious, especially if we say we fighting a fight, a system. Go ahead, Bob. Oh, there's exceptions. So there's exceptions. Like there's exceptions, but there still should be standards. Because some of us have, let me give you an idea of what I see happening in our community. Sometimes we're so entitled. And what I mean is, some of us are so, we struggle with certain things so much that we will blame it on anything. And we'll feel justified in it. And what I mean is, we'll say things like, my mother, I had to go take my mother to the store. Just like that. I had to take my mother to the store. And now you better not ask. Don't let brothers, we like the, don't ask no questions about my mother. Don't ask no questions about my wife. And you better not ask no questions about my daughters. You right? Oh, my daughter was sick. Okay, could you have just called? I mean, are you that off kilter that you can't just make a call? But if you can't make a call, let that be an exception, not the rule. So there's always room for things, but it should not be a occupation. And guess what? When you are, look, for example, I work with people. I do therapy upstairs. I can be late. You know why? Because I'm always on time. Because they know I'm gonna be here. If I miss, it's not gonna be a part of my character or my personality trait. They're gonna say, even here today, everybody know that I'm gonna probably beat everybody here. There's not, if I'm not here, they're gonna be looking weird, like, oh, what's going on? Is everything all right? That Negro, he's really clockwork. He's like clockwork, you know. But if I'm not here, they probably gonna think like, oh man, I hope everything all right. When you're going up and down, you see me walking? Oh, you be seeing me walking or something? Oh, okay. Yeah, look, I need my security. God dang, I need my security. Look, he see me. Not for you. I'm talking about everybody else is seeing. No, you know what? But really though, somebody used to tell me, I see you. I went to a place one time. I had a business over West Side. He was like, yeah, I know you. You the guy that own the business. I was like, oh shoot. But yeah, thank you, brother. You did? Oh, yeah. So you've been around for a while. Okay. Well, welcome and thank you. And we hope to see you. Yes, sir, I do. They still getting they still clocking. So let's go. Let's go, Baba. Mike, please.
What's wrong with someone in West Africa? They Burkina Faso. They're building a house. And his grandfather said, well, we'll start building when the cows come home. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
He really wants to start building once the cows arrive.
He wants to rock cows the what?
He wants to start building once the cows arrive.
That's at least he had a designated point of time. You got to have something that we can agree with. You just can't have your individual. Look, if it's the cows come home, we will go with that. At least we have something that we can look at and identify it's time. And if the cows come home and you're not there, we're gonna have to hold you accountable. There's a marker. Because what I'm saying is the goal is people have misused this to say they can show up when they want to. And leave. No, this is what we do. They call it colored people time. See, colored people time is really Eurocentric time. This is traumatized time. You've been in Western America, you've been in the West, and now you hurt, and now you forgot about the cows. You just think you show up when you want to. That's not what they was doing. At least they knew about the cow, the shadow, the sun. Something was a marker. It doesn't matter if a clock is nothing but a marker. The goddamn cow is a marker. The sun is a marker. The size of the shadow is a marker.
Back in Australia, they would sing a song to
tell you the distance to get from here to there. They don't have like 2 miles, 3 miles. The song that they sing, when the song ends, they'll be at the destination. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
But I think what we're basically...
Oh, you can't do that, man. You just thinking here too, though. You was like, I think the mic can hit me up.
I think it goes back to what Baba Kevin said, and that we have to be more responsible. Because one thing like that can just mess up a whole scheduled event or even a cosmically timely event when we're not in the right place at the right time. So we just have to really be accountable and responsible for what we commit to do and what we submit to do.
Okay. All right. So I'll go with a Who Said passage. The Who Said says, do not be proud and arrogant with your knowledge. Consult and converse with the ignorant and the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field cannot be reached. And no one has ever attained perfection in skill. So I put here, even in ancient wisdom, there is an instruction to slow down and think, not to assume we've mastered something just because it sounds good. So how do we slow ourselves down enough to truly discern? How do we honor African culture with both spirit and skill? Not just the part that gives us cover when we're out of alignment. How do we see? Again, it's about balancing this thing. It's always about the balance. And again, I keep saying, I really like that I've been saying this lately. How do we honor astrology all the time, but not honor astronomy? Like, I really want to, I think that most of us really need to work on that. I mean, we strong on what we call the spirit. We're strong in astrology and all the astrological and not astronomical, but astrological. We're strong in poetry and all these beautiful things. But challenge yourself to tap into that other side of your brain. So we're good in chaos and not keeping schedules. It even feels good. It feels freeing. But the reality is, try to be good with keeping your word. Try to be good with keeping time. If the sun is your thing, you better be like my father, looking to the east. Not like a Muslim, but looking to the east and knowing the sun rises there. Because first and foremost, we talk about this stuff, we don't even realize where the sun part is coming from, half of us. So at least use something. Use something as a marker. Ain't nobody ask you for all that astrology. Look, nobody ask you. I didn't even say nothing about anything moving, Baba. You just want to teach. No one said anything about moving. Give him the mic, please. Someone, please give him the mic so the people can hear that he's talking about moving suns and moving. The earth is moving around the sun and not the other way around. The sun rises. Isn't all your African literature? Which literature you using now? Oh, you're right. So we're gonna have to say sun what? Earth rise and earth set. All right. Give them a round of applause, y'all. Earth rise, earth set. Go ahead. Yeah. That we're gonna start saying it just because you. Earth rising. We gotta correct it, right? Go ahead, Baba Jamal.
This thing about astrology versus astronomy is that's something that's even overlooked in the Masonic sciences. One day, with your permission, I'd like to prove the fallacy of astrology. I'll leave it at that.
Are you doing that to people? Nobody didn't tell you to come in here messing with people's religion.
Capricorn too, huh?
And he don't need the one to go loud because he loud enough. Go ahead.
I just want to give a I just want to give a contrasting viewpoint between Stokely Carmichael and Ella Baker. Stokely Carmichael was known for his sharp intellect and impatience for performative activism. Often grew frustrated with individuals he saw as pretentious or lacking genuine commitment at CC meetings. He had little tolerance for what he perceived as empty rhetoric without real action. But then the contrast is Ella Baker. This is coming from Ella Baker. Whoop, I can't recall the title of it. Ella Baker, however, had decades of organizing experience and deep understanding of human development, patience, and long game of struggle. She schooled Carmichael on the importance of allowing people the time to grow politically and intellectually. That's the balance.
Oh, you done? Thank you, brother Kevin. So I want to say this. African people, this is just we speak about time, but it's really about looking at things a little bit more complex. Not just taking things just because it feels good. Because the reality is, some things, what feels good to us lots of times on the individual level does not serve us on the collective level. We feel like that's free though. You know? I think it's important that we understand the importance of discipline. I have here, African people didn't ignore time. We reverenced it. The Dogon aligned with the stars. The Yoruba followed sacred market weeks and ritual cycles. The Khan named children by the day. Ethiopians still follow a 13-month calendar. We moved in rhythm, but it was not the self-centered rhythm. It was a collective, spiritual, and accountable rhythm. To say Africans did not use clocks and then show up hours late without regard for others is not cultural. Cultural is what allows us to be ordered. It's also important to understand that everything operates in time, in order, in structure, in an African society. Again, I've been talking about this idea that lots of us have gifts and talents, but we're the individuals ushering in our own gifts and talents. We have too many healers who have not been authorized. We have too many people looking at YouTube University every day and getting very euphoric feelings that really support their grandiose ideas. We all got a little grandiosity inside if we say it or not. I know. You ain't hiding it from me. You're not. Look, if you told people what went on in that mind of yours, and the thing is, I'm really good at, in a way of seeing it, and you just don't think I can. Because it slips out. I know, but I can see it. One day I had a client told me, he's like, I feel like you're reading my mind. He got spooked out. And he didn't really like it, per se. He struggled with it. Because he felt like he couldn't put the facade up anymore. He thought it was spooky. But the reality is I don't have magical powers unless that's called magic. I know Bible will say yes, magic, but yes. The reality is The facade isn't there. So the Dogon aligned with the stars. The Yoruba again followed sacred market weeks and ritual cycles. The Akan named children by the day. Ethiopians a 13-month calendar. Again, we moved with rhythm. To say Africans didn't use clocks and then show up hours late without regard for others is not cultural. That's comfort masquerading as heritage. It's performance, not practice. What's real is the sacred rhythm our people honored. A rhythm that required patience, order, alignment, and respect. Again, it's not enough to just show up and say you African, dress African, talk African, or whatever you think that is on these surface levels. Again, I was saying that we have a rite of passage. In fact, we have one starting soon. A rite of passage of ministry, a rite of passage of facilitation, a rite of passage for healers. I promise you, if you are healing because you were called and you weren't initiated, you're probably doing hurt. You're probably hurting people. And probably you operate on your own hurt. And your hurt has you trying to help others through your hurt. You're trying to help people feel the things you've never felt many times. I see so many people who are out here helping people through their own trauma, but they never got over the very trauma. They never healed from that trauma. If you never healed from that trauma, then you are going to hurt people. In fact, you probably shouldn't be the person that says, well, you should get some consension of whether or not you really need some more work. Mike. Hot potato. Somebody grab the mic. Hot potato. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
I was going to ask about Brother Rodney Hinton, who son was killed by the police, and then he runs over the deputy sheriff in retaliation or revenge. What was his spirituality? Do you think that was correct or what?
Well, Dr. Welsing says in her counseling that there reaches a certain point in trauma where you're not even thinking correctly and you will just respond, especially in something traumatic like that. And so I don't even think spirituality had a place in that man's sorrow and grief. All he was thinking about was something very precious was taken away from him. Now I want to go back to the healing piece, because I've been working with people in their muscles for many decades. And one thing about people can lie out of their mouth, but their body doesn't lie. Their body does not lie. And when touch is activated, it will release certain traumas without even people realizing that that's occurring. And they'll speak on it, or they'll just show some level of emotion. And so a true healer doesn't have to hear your background story. All they have to do is witness your muscles, because your muscles are not going to lie.
Yeah. I think that I think it's important though that we understand what are we utilizing to kind of come up with these ideas, though. I think I kind of miss what you were saying, Baba, as far as the incident, the trucker. Oh, okay, yeah. That right there is very yeah, yeah. Mhm. 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 What do you think about that? You think it's justifiable? The mic, Baba.
Kill the person that killed the son? No.
It's his rage and his grief. He just reacted.
No, I understand his rage and stuff. Yeah. But I always say shoot the arrow.
The arrow man?
Yeah. I know.
Well, I think we can look at it as a both and, right? Let's look at it. So let's kind of like practice that right now. I think it's a both and. So I don't know if I would go as strong as saying justifiable. I think I can go as far as saying understandable. I think we can debate justifiable. But I think that I can understand. Because a person who's been hurt so much as an individual, but also as a collective, he's already a black man experiencing the traumas of our people being treated in very inhumane ways. Now it comes to his home, and now he's in a state of rage, perhaps. So the very first thing that flashes before him is this person, and he's trying to get that. The problem is it maybe it was enough for him. Maybe it was enough for him. But I'm wondering if that will be the best way to do it as a collective. Mike. Mm-hmm.
I knew the guy who did it.
Mm-hmm.
Collectively, as a black man, we was taught to revenge.
Mm-hmm.
But mother's love said no. First thing she said is no. Do not hurt this person. I'm right there finding and everything. I could not get to him. He was in someone's house, but his brother was walking down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Collectively, his brother did not do nothing. But at one time, now for now,
Mm-hmm.
hurt mama, hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in. As a black man,
Mm-hmm.
my mother, as a man, said no.
Mm-hmm.
My thing for certain things, and I'm letting you understand, is not to hurt the person who has not the issue involved.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with the genetic law.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I knew right where to put my mother said no. My friend said yes. Mom said no. So, for certain things, I have to learn the culture of what we were teaching. I don't think that was justifiable to hurt someone who did not know. Now, I ain't getting racist, yes, which was in me when I saw that young man's life.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me hurting someone else that did not do what was done to my brother. Did not harm him to clean up my life.
Right. So I think that things are like a both and. So let's say strategically, if we were talking about collectively, right? And someone killed your people and you were at war. What would you retaliate? Is there a benefit for retaliating people who didn't hurt? Now, give him the mic. Let Baba Cliff.
Okay, I think this entire conversation centers on the degree to which we are committed to the African principle of Ma'at.
Mm-hmm.
Truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, reciprocity, balance, order.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, you know him, huh? Bob?
Going from your initial story, your initial situation where a coworker shows up 2 hours late. If you agree to meet at a certain time and you show up 5-10 minutes late, I agree with Baba. Okay, yeah, we can kind of like
work that out.
Yeah, we can work that out. If you show up 2 hours late, either you had some serious reason, your car broke down, you were mugged on the way, or you had a heart attack and you had to go to the hospital and you didn't have time to call on the phone.
Yeah,
that's one thing. But then to come back and say, "Oh, well, there is no such thing as time." Okay, that's gaslighting right there. That is not commitment to Ma'at. If you agree to meet at 2:00 and you show up at 4, and then you try to justify it, rationalize it, that is what our enemy does. Our enemy does that. Okay, so that is one aspect of a lack of commitment to Ma'at. Someone else, we're also talked a little bit about astrology. A lot of us know nothing more about astrology than what allows us to read the horoscope in the newspaper and think that that's going to tell us what's going to happen to us today, or whether or not we're going to pick the right lottery number. They don't really understand whatever is really behind astrology. And sure, they don't understand astronomy at all. So in other words, we're too lazy sometimes to really get into the essence of what it is we're talking about. Third example,
Bob,
how many of us claim to be healers and we're not? How many of us, people have tried to call me Dr. Cliff. I have to correct them, because if I let them call me Dr. Cliff, then that disrespects the work you did to earn your title. Okay, the last one. How do you respond if someone strikes against you or your family? Would you do what the father did and run over a crossing guard because a cop shot your son? Okay, now do you believe that you can simply soothe your own rage by striking out at someone else who may bear some resemblance to the person who did you wrong? Anyone who is against what Israel is doing right now in Gaza cannot feel that way. Hamas launches a raid on October 7th, 2023. 1,500 Israelis die. Of course, now that was in response to 50 plus years of oppression by Israel against Gaza and against the West Bank that wasn't doing any of the things Hamas was doing. But then Israel responds by killing 50,000 Palestinians. They are visiting their rage upon the Palestinian people because of what happened on October 7th, 2023. And that is collective punishment. And according to the Geneva Conventions, that is genocide. So now at what point do we decide we're going to be serious about Ma'at? We're going to really adhere to the principles that Ma'at holds. My father was killed 66 years ago. No, I'm sorry, 56 years ago. I was 10 years old. 56 years ago, someone killed my father. I could have, at the age of 10, just suddenly gone out and decided to go on a rage, just start gunning down people and say, "Oh, it's because someone killed my father."
Yeah.
But no, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. If I'd run into the person who did it, depending on how he responded, maybe I kill him myself. But only in that case would I be able to justify that. We have a tendency to gaslight people by claiming that what we did was justified either by our own culture or by universal culture or whatever. It's a level of intellectual and moral laziness that too many of us very easily succumb to, and we gotta cut that out. And that's all I'm gonna say.
So I think, Baba, I think it's a both and still though. And I appreciate which I agree with it in a both and sense. I think though it's easy. I think I could flip it a bit, just a piece of it. It's almost like I think we can understand it though. And what I mean by understand is what Israel is doing to Gaza, right? But let's flip it a bit. What Gaza or Hamas supposedly did to Israel. I think I can understand that. And I can understand how Israel, as misled as they are returning it, because you got a bunch of people who have been indoctrinated to believe that they are God's chosen people. So again, I can understand it. Is it justifiable in an intellectual sense? No. Again, so it's a both and. I do also understand the intellectual sense, though, why Hamas would retaliate after being oppressed for so long. And then I could also see how those people who are lost and believe that they are the God's chosen people will retaliate with that ideology. Now, if you ask me so I think everything is understandable. Is it justifiable? I think that is debatable, but I do understand how people, again, getting back to what I'm saying about spiritual discernment or just discernment, understanding what is real from what is unreal. What is unreal in here is that you God's chosen people. That's a real reality. And again, I kind of stay away from religion per se. I think but I think it'd be injustice not to at least touch on the pieces that are harming people. How it's disserving us and how it has our brains in a figure four. It has our brains locked up.
Confabulated.
It has our brain. You got the word. It has our brains confabulated. And you said a lot there. I think that's true. And I'll be honest with you. And I stay low key, but I do think it's somewhat disrespectful when everybody's look. I've seen so many people in this community. Pardon, but you just touched on something I don't normally touch on, and it's kind of like I just do have you. I have to use you as an excuse to talk about it. So is that everybody's a daggone doctor, and everybody's getting these doctorate degrees that their homeboys signed them up for, honorary doctors. This somebody even said they got an honorary PhD, which is not supposed to be a thing. But it's like, imagine somebody say they got an honorary MD. Imagine someone saying, people. I'm certain I'm certain that they got these things right. Like it's supposed to be like a doctorate of letters or something like that, and you're not supposed to be walking. I go into circles. I'll be honest with you. I'm just disclosing my inner pain. But you go in circles and everybody around the thing is doctor this and doctor that and doctor, and you're like, damn. You're like, damn. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get caught up on the Western man stuff, but at least you go to like. I can tell the way you even you don't even know what you're talking about. I can tell, you can tell. But anyway, what I'm saying is but the problem I have with it is not that it's this white man thing, is that people utilize it to build themselves up in a way that you will listen, to build up somewhat level of authority. But they're misutilizing the thing that they have. And first and foremost, everybody should not be getting honorary doctorate. That should be hard. But everybody who got a preacher circle or some kind of circle, or they go to and they buy it offline, got an honorary doctorate now. But they don't tell you that it's honorary doctorate either. And you're supposed to say, I have an honorary doctorate. You're not supposed to just walk around saying I'm Dr. This. Just like you're not supposed to walk around and just say I'm Chief This. Or you can't master this. No. But I'm going to say, though, yes, Bob, if you are a master, I think you can say you're a master. But everybody around us, they created their own master. Okay, you're going to have to take the mic back. But yeah, so again, fleshing out what is real versus what is unreal. And I'm telling you, as a community, we suck at it. We say we do research. We don't know how to do research. And in our rites of passage that we're going through, that we're starting up, spread, for those who want to be a part of TNAT, we are really in certain position. Everybody has to go through some level of rite of passage, and because we have to get back to respecting things, and we have to really challenge what we say. And I'm being nice. I didn't used to be so nice. I used to just challenge things always right on. You know, I heard things in the circle today that I wanted to challenge, but I just chilled out. Y'all went all into astrology. Why y'all beating up on astrology like that? There's a place for everything. I'm just being honest. There's a place for everything. But we have to know the limits. Some things are for fun. Some things are historical. And some things historical didn't serve us, so people moved on. Just because it was ancient doesn't mean that it was best or that people kept doing it. I mean, if we had to really be honest, Egyptians thought that any mental illness was a infection of the soul or what have you. So some of them drill holes in your head. Do you want that? No, you want to keep the astrology, but you don't want to get them drilled in. You don't want to get your cranial drilled in because you're smart enough not to do that. So, but Bob, take
a drill and go through your nose.
Yeah.
Pull your brain out.
Then for mummification. So I'm saying that we have segmented cultural attention. Oh yeah, the Egyptians they created the astrological chart. Okay, that's fine. But I promise they probably didn't even see how you saying. Everybody want to tell me what people ask me my sign. I say, since you know so much, just tell me. Tell me. I mean, like I don't look. I don't play the games. Like, look, tell me. You the personality expert. You are the personality. Look, the reason why you want to know my sign because you saw something in me. And you say, "Oh, I know he must be a Cancer, or I know he must be a Capricorn, and I know he must be a something." Hold on, brother Brad. What you doing over there, man? Look, I just see you writing a whole bunch. Look, he ready. Look, Rev. Come on over in the circle, though, Baba. Join us for a second. You want to keep dropping all that wisdom? We can't even get you in the camera shot. No, that's not good, though. That's not a good angle. They trying hard to get you and Baba Cliff. He would pick the camera up and everything to get you, Baba Cliff. I was trying to tell you, stand up and talk. Look, for the people can see you. But anyway, go ahead, brother Kev. While he moved, brother Kevin, Patrick, extraordinaire.
I was writing down what was all was said and some things that I've shared. You know, Stevie Wonder said, "You believe in things that you don't understand and you suffer. Superstition is the way." Well, that's good stuff. But listen, I want to say, if I can, when it comes to strengthening our communal bonds, right? I stated earlier about accountability and responsibility. When we use the word time, for me, time must be economized. And what role that each and every one of us are playing in strengthening our communal bonds. We want to track that progress if we can. And how can that progress be? How can we track that progress? I would say one thing that needs to be done, and I would say what Dr. Winkler does in this wise, is to disarm the deception. Yes. Once we learn to disarm, continue to disarm the deception, which we are doing here, then we cut through the confusion. Once we cut through the confusion, then we clarify the intent, our intent and our purpose. When we do that, we restore that which is out of order. In doing that, we apply the healing by way of clarity. As a truth bearer, a truth bringer, and a standard bearer. Point direct to you. What that means is to restore the connection of self-worth. Bam, boom, 1, 2, 3. By awakening the ancestral memory. This is what the drum does. It's not just as an instrument. Mm-hmm. As a reminder of who we are, that which resonates deep within our soul. By restoring, it breathes life into the community for relational healing.
because we have this confused sensitivity of relational healing. Dr. Du Bois called it double consciousness. We must be receptive to the what? To the communal bonds. And when we are receptive to the communal bonds, we are restoring the pulse of harmony within the collective community.
Okay. So again, thank you, Baba Kevin, Wally Moo, Reverend. I'm going scholar, graduate. He's recent graduate. Continuously, everybody give my brother a round of applause. A recent graduate. He's still going. He's still doing. You know what I mean? He doesn't. It's not YouTube University. He and I fought. Look. I ain't gonna talk about it. Look. Well, one thing I'll say is that grab the mic.
You never make mockery of anyone, because when you make mockery of anyone, you look like the fool that is being mocked.
All right. Thank you for that. Don't know what you're alluding to, but you talking to you? Oh, y'all making exchanges up in here? What's going on? Hold on. What we doing up in here? I told y'all like brothers. All right. Look. Breathe, family. Breathe. We've talked about that earlier. But anyway, I want to get back to that analogy, then I'm gonna close it out. That analogy to me is not simple. The world is not simple. Maya is not simple. There's no one way of doing things. And I think if we take a step back and really, really be honest with ourselves, we can understand why people are caught in these cycles. The brother earlier, he said, what's your good name, Baba? Dean, Baba Dean. He said earlier, he said he wanted to revenge. And I think you can understand that. But then his mother said something else, and I think you can understand that. But he also said it becomes, when we see what is good, what is as is above, as is below, and all that, so is below, that type of thing. I think there's a message there. Because he realizes that if he would have, those of us, especially during those days, it's a non-stop retaliation on that level. And that on that level, sometimes we don't realize that it is a microcosm of what goes on in Gaza and Israel. But we can see how people get caught in that back and forth. But what we can't understand, we can understand on that level. We can understand on a very micro level. This is what I challenge us to do. Always try to look at the thing that you think is too big on a micro level. It'll help you make sense out of it. You can understand how brothers in the communities have been played against each other. But you struggle to see how Israelis and those from Gaza have been played against each other, and feel rightfully so. They believe the stuff they believe. I know y'all saying Gaza's all right, but what I am saying is whether Gaza is all right or not, the people on the other side have been duped. And so the same thing has happened in our community, where, I live in this neighborhood, they started this beef. And now, we carry that thing on traditionally, but we don't know where it started. We weren't even the ones who started, but we bought into an ideology. And the ideology doesn't stop because it's a country. And it doesn't stop because it's just a few city blocks. It's the same thing on different levels. So again, I don't think anything's white. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't think nothing's white. I think what we call white is just short. I think it's just incomplete. It's nothing white about anything. Killing people is not white. It's just, where's the love at? That now you can say, well, they lack love. Well, we can probably have an argument there as a collective people. But there's nothing white about anything, really, to be honest with you. It's the segmentation of things which makes it Eurocentric. Nothing's completely white, that Africans have dealt with everything. So if we are going to resist the mechanical rush of this modern world, we must replace it not with chaos, but with a sacred vow to show up with presence and respect. If you miss the time, as we started off, if you miss the time, you may miss the teaching. And that happens all the time. And we take each other for granted. And I'm just being honest with you, don't take me for granted. After a while, I'm gonna have to set a boundary. Because like, look, I know and even we talk about great speakers and teachers, start talking about us. Though, I mean, look, they didn't stop, they didn't die. People say stuff like Michael Jordan is always gonna be the best basketball player. If that's, what does that say about the rest of our people coming behind us? I think that we gotta get, like, he did his part. Our ancestors did their part, but how do they live in you? How do they live in us? We have to respect, we don't have to, but I'm suggesting that we start to speak what people say here. In fact, you come here every week, as Baba Abu Jamal said, you telling me you ain't learned one thing to repeat that I said? What type of that, to me, if you really look at it, that is insulting. That is an insult. That somewhere along the line, that tells you a lot about the relationships with you, that you're around. If you are in a circle, nobody can repeat what you said, there's something wrong. Especially if you got a lot of mic time. Why, you can repeat what Dr. Wells said, beautifully you should. You can repeat what Dr. Amos said, and I do too. But if you notice, I repeat and I reference the people around me. Some of us are so blinded that we can't even respect the ones before us. That is problematic. And it is something there that has that happening because you're not taking the people seriously. Because something in your mind keeps you from even ingesting new information because you're going back to what you learned historically. But that's not how things happen. Things progress. It's not that you have to discard of it, but you have to also make room for new information. They didn't have it all right, and nor do we have it all right, but it has to be an evolution. I heard Dr. Naim Akbar and Dr. Asa G. Hilliard say we can have all this wrong, but it's for the next generation to come behind us to correct it. But we missed those pieces because we have segmented Afrocentric attention. It didn't stop back then. It didn't stop with Clark. Some of it might have began with Clark. It didn't stop with Ben. Some of it may have begun with Ben. And it didn't even start with them. But it is an insult for people to be in your midst who dedicated their time. You told go to school and do all this studying, and then you can't even cite them. Go look at any of my speeches, any of my talks. You'll see I've cited almost all the elders around me that nobody cited. Cite each other. Is the greatness not here? Part of the problem is you don't see it. I had to talk to a brother the other day. I told him, I love you, brother, but you don't take me seriously. And look, if you're around me, if you don't take me serious, you might as well stop. Because you're so blinded, you can't see the brilliance. Let me say it again. You're so blinded, you can't see the brilliance. And I said to them, and I know it triggered them. Like, oh, you calling yourself brilliant? Yes, I'm calling myself brilliant. But I said, but guess what? I see the brilliance in you. And that's what softened it. Because I truly can see the brilliance in you. But you can't see the brilliance in me because the light is so bright and you're so close to it, you can't see it. You're blinded. And you're looking everywhere else. Making commitments everywhere. But won't support the very thing that gives you the things that you get. You taking from it, but not giving back to it. It's been too many brothers, especially, who all they do is take. They do a little bit, but what we're trying to do is we operate in individualistic ways. Ego. I know you want to be famous. I know Facebook loves you. I know you like all the pictures. I know you just want to be seen. I know there's a part of you that just wants to be seen. I know you want to be important, but the problem is you already are. You are important. You don't, you look, all that stuff. Look, you can go down. Look, I'm telling you, you can go down people's Facebook timelines and you should really examine, are they doing work or are they taking pictures? Let's do that again. Are they doing work? I wanted to hear Brother Carlos talk about that, but I'm gonna let this close. Are they doing work or are they taking pictures? I mean, look, I'm seeing brothers know how to take better selfies than women now. I'm sorry to put some gender on it, but you know, I gotta keep it a buck. Brothers doing better selfies than women. I mean, I be trying to do the selfie. I be like this with two hands, and I'm like, that ain't working. You know what I mean? But they taking better selfies than women, and they smiling and posing. And I mean, I'm not saying don't look good, but all that snin and grin, and you supposed to be revolutionary. I'm not saying revolutionaries don't snin and grin, but you got too many daggone pictures. You got pictures. We out here. We out here doing what? What are we out here doing? What are you doing when you're not in front of the camera? What are you doing when you're not in front of the camera? What do he want to use his own mic? He's special. You know,
No, I'm just saying that we went through this a couple times in our last meetings. It's like they're obsessed with, you know, instead of the work, they're obsessed with popularity. So like you said, you get people that go out, they're not getting good at selfies. They got a group of people that follow them and take pictures of them. That, you know, they got dedicated people that take pictures of them, show up at a place, and we've seen it actually exposed where they'll show up 2 minutes, take the pictures.
Oh yeah,
and then they gone. And the real people out there fighting, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" Like you convoluting the things, you making things, all this presence come around, and there's no substance behind it. So
we out here. I'm talking about even those that be in these circles. I'm talking about us. We need to be held accountable. We out here. You at every event. The one thing that you should notice, I'm coming. One thing you should notice, if somebody is at every organizational event, how much work are they doing? You have commitment issues. They're a mole? What is that? Oh yeah, they could be a mole, but I'm just saying no. They trying to please their. No. What I'm going to argue is I'm talking about us for real. That aren't moles. We have neurological things. We want to feel. We have holes in us that we want to satisfy. So they become counterproductive because they just want to be important. They go from this place to that place. They at every rally, every march, they everywhere. They got all the banners. I'm not saying we shouldn't support everything, but you cannot be a part of 17 organizations and be good to any one of them. At least have a cap on your organization count. But we don't have clocks though, you know? We don't count. Africans didn't count organizations, you know. But let me stop. Say it again. You know I was gonna go back. Don't you be reading my mind, brother. All right, so in closing, family. So yes, resist the robotic, but do not confuse rebellion with restoration. Like rebelling against anything that we think is Eurocentric. Stop giving them so much credit. They did not. They did not. They're not the first people that thought about someone's mental health. The first person that thought about someone's physical health. They're not the first one who thought about the ingredients for medicine. They're not. And lots of us found out the hard way. We bucket. But after a while, when we twist it up and halfway did, then we do things that we should have done before. I'm sorry. Holistic medicine, what we call holistic medicine, we sell herbs right there. But they have limitations. Why do we have to learn the hard way? Let's be real. After you done shorten yourself 10 years listening to some of our elders even, we don't realize that a lot of our elders been frauds. telling you to do this diet and that diet and do this and do that, and everybody on the thing taking their shirt off, talking about, look at me, I'm 80, look at my six-pack. That don't mean nothing. You 7, look, that is a part of the snake oil. They know what they doing. Look, that don't mean anything. Well, maybe it means something, but it doesn't mean, like, you are a snake oil salesman. All these diets, I'm not going to call no names. I'm just trying to tell you. We got to stop playing games. I had a brother look, I'm telling you, this is real to me. I had a brother in Philly who sold he literally told us that he was giving my father-in-law sugar pills. And he zapped it with some electronic magnetic field and said cancer's not real. And I'm telling you, these holistic doctors, probably 99% of them are farce, are frauds. Everybody went to a weekend course or no course. Whether they went to that weekend course or no course, I'm trying to tell you, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that herbs don't work to some degree. I sell them because they do. They really can help you a lot in mental health. But there's even limitations there. You can utilize some herbs to help you, some holy basil with some anxiety, or some ashwagandha with stress, and you can utilize some what is it called for high blood pressure, but not everybody. Everybody can't use hibiscus for high blood pressure. It's gonna work. Some people, hibiscus you ain't gonna get enough hibiscus. You're gonna drink so much hibiscus, you're gonna have red in your stools, but it is not gonna help your blood pressure. It might help it a little. But when you running around with 200, I done seen too many of my brothers talking about, my holistic doctor said 200 over 170. Stuff like that, like 260, like, bro. And they telling me everything. Bro, go take that damn pill. Excuse my language, babies. Go take the pill. Or you better use the cuff and make sure that what you got going on is working. But I know you don't want to deal with the machine because the white man made the machine. And you don't even know if the white man made the machine. That's the problem. Who made the machine? We made everything, then we didn't make nothing. Like, oh, well, these red lights are these Eurocentric paradigms. We just run the lights. I thought the black man made the red light. It's just like we have segmented attention. We don't distinguish between the real and the unreal. I'm telling you, most of us who've been, look, we think, what is it called? The Dunning-Kruger effect? The Dunning-Kruger, I know y'all gonna say that's some Eurocentric stuff. The Dunning-Kruger effect, the less you know, the more you think you know. The more education you know, the more, and this is real, the more real education you get. When I say real, I'm talking about you went through some level, even what you call Eurocentric education, the less you have that effect. Because you realize you just don't know much of anything. You know a little bit of something, but you know a lot to other people, but you really, when it comes to the vast amounts of information, you don't know much of nothing. The Dunning-Kruger effect is when most people, average people, think they know more than what they think they know. I'm telling you, the more education you get, the more you realize you don't know much of nothing. The less education you got, you think you know every daggone thing. And you want to debate with people who know. He loves it. Look, you got to give him the mic for that one. Say that again for the mic, though, Bob.
I love the uneducated. And I've got a big brain. I love the uneducated.
So in closing, family. So yes, family. So we're going to close it out. So yes, resist the robotic, but do not confuse rebellion with restoration. Real African time is not lazy. It is layered. It's not to be misused. And it requires commitment, not convenience. This is the heart of discernment. To know when we are citing culture and when we are hiding behind it. Discernment is not just spiritual, it's structural. Both and. Don't discount the structure for the name of what we call spirit. Blessings.
Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now.
Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now. Check it out now.
If my train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Back on the scene, crispy and clean. You can try, but then why? Cause you can't intervene. We be the outcast, down for the settle. Won't play rock, won't play the pebble. Open the door, you best believe we're sliding through it swiftly. Niftily, we can make it hip to be. What we're all cause, what we be. Be the epitome, do, die, dippity. So